Dear Mr. Last and Mr. Cornette, my question, which I would like to put forward for the drive-thru, is regarding arenas. We regularly hear in your talks regarding territories that companies would run the same cities, presumably always in the same buildings. I was wondering if you have heard any stories or experienced any problems with potentially not being able to run what has been a regular arena. What I mean by this is, for example, arena staff or management suddenly giving promoters problems, either breaking down their necks about how they run the show, suddenly resisting taking bookings for wrestling shows, or generally forcing companies to jump through a lot of hoops in order to satisfy those in charge of the venue. Thank you, and I look forward to hearing your show each week.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, in over the years, and think of how many promoters ran how many territories and how many wrestling shows, and there's how many arenas. That was always the biggest problem in general that you were going to have as a promoter was a problem with the building or a problem with the TV station. The problem with the talent wasn't nearly as bad as those two, because you could get other talent, but you couldn't sometimes get it if there was two buildings in town, or if that was the only one really that was suited your needs. And the TV stations, there weren't many more than that, and not a lot of them wanted wrestling to begin with. So, yeah. I mean, personally, it just did at Ring of Honor, to be quite honest with you, building it drove me fucking crazy. During the first part of the Sinclair era was the Manhattan Center, which is why they ended up leaving and not running there for a few years. Because I guess it's owned by the fucking Moonies or whatever, the complex, and they have some type of the Mooney church services, whatever they are. I'm not trying to be racist. I don't have any fucking clue. But it's the perfect place in New York for an independent wrestling event of that level. I mean, if you're only going to draw 500 people, no, but where Ring of Honor was at, it was the building. You know this to be true. But as soon as Sinclair Broadcasting bought the company, they heard it wasn't the beloved old Kerry Silkin and the deals that Sid may or may not have been making under the table. It was, $1 billion company. So automatically they doubled the rent. They instituted a Ticketmaster charge. So if the building seated 2,000 people, it was like $6,000 for a ticketing charge for Ticketmaster to print the tickets and put them in the system. There was a site origination fee. If we wanted to do an internet pay-per-view, even not park a TV truck in the back, just do an internet pay-per-view off a 8-foot lunchroom table, they wanted to charge the $10,000 origination fee, but they knocked it down to $5,000, I think, finally. Just all this bullshit. But that's as old as the hills. They've been doing it to wrestling promotions. I went in Smoky Mountain. One of our building disputes led to a famous incident. When Les Thatcher had found us a place up in Erlanger, Kentucky, which was metropolitan Cincinnati. And we had the Smoky Mountain show was on a low power station there, but there were several hundred diehard fans that would attend, and Les had local connections, and he found us a building called Peel's Palace that did entertainment events, that had a bar to it. And so we ran a few shows. That was where we had Severn in for the NWA title, right?
That's where he beat Candido.
Yeah. Candido, yeah. And but we had a show scheduled, but I got a call like early on a Friday morning. It was for that Friday night. Knoxville and Cincinnati is only 4 hours apart, right? Or thereabouts. And I can't remember the specifics. When I do the Smoky Mountain book, I'm going to have to research this matter. But the point was, Peel's Palace had wanted to raise the rent and charge for this or that or the other thing and make it a lot more expensive to run the building. And Les had told me this a week or two previously, and I'd said, well, we ain't going to run that building anymore. But I think he called me that morning and said, well, they've decided to put the new deal in for tonight. I said, what? We've had this date booked for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, and now they're going to change the deal the day of the show because we don't want to change the deal going forward. And I said, fuck it, we ain't going to run the show. Well, we told all the guys. But apparently, somehow word got around that Peel's Palace itself was going to try to have a show and just keep the gate of whoever showed up, since we had done all the work and all the advertising, right? And I got to get with D'Lo Brown on this because he may know exactly what the backstage conversations were. But New Jack and Mustafa, the claim was that they went to the town thinking it was going to be a Smoky Mountain show, and being surprised, and then working anyway. Well, actually, they knew there was going to be a show, even though it wasn't ours, and they figured if they went up, they'd get paid some kind of way. So, and then that was the night of a New Jack incident where potentially authorities were called and things and such of that nature. But it was not a Smoky Mountain show. It was just originally intended. But you never know what the fuck's going to happen. When you're in the wrestling business, you wake up every morning going, what the fuck is going to happen today?